So just a couple of bits, maybe a couple of the challenges you mentioned in response to that last question, particularly around the demands on you to provide support to your clients through the pandemic and the importance, therefore, of your role as a trusted partner. And just really linking to that, my final question really for this part of the discussion comes in two parts. And I think, firstly, thinking more broadly, are you able to share any additional details on some of the obstacles you've faced and overcome, or indeed are still grappling with in making customer centricity a reality within your business? And then secondly, linked to that, how are you actually measuring your progress and the outcomes of that? Louise, do you want to come in first on this one this time, please?
Absolutely. So I think for UCAS, the real issue, and it will always be an issue, is that, I've mentioned a three-legged stool, but we can't get away from the fact that some of our customers shout louder than others. And within the HE sector, we have a very broad range of tiny little colleges, maybe supporting, agricultural courses through to, University of Manchester, which has more applications than many others put together. And, it's how we enable our customers to understand what customer centricity means for UCAS. Yes, we want to respond to their needs, but it's not doing everything they want. But it's very much about us translating their requirements into products and services that hopefully benefit all of their peers, all of those 350 plus university customers. And, all of them have such different IT systems, different recruitment targets and markets, and it's how we enable them to know that we're doing what we can, are doing our best, but it doesn't necessarily mean we're going to do everything that they want. So that's always been a challenge. And I guess the second thing with how we know we've got there, UCAS is always, we have those annual satisfaction scores, which actually are really high, which is really great, but they're only a moment in time. So we've got more work to do in understanding in the moment metrics. We have dashboards that we use in terms of the management of customer interactions, and those can be really helpful for our staff. We're very transparent in that everybody can see that in terms of measuring, all the interactions, number of calls, and how those have gone. Particularly with social media, that's been really helpful to us because you can, very quickly ascertain the feeling and the sentiment. And and young people, as we all know, young people are very much driven by their emotion. So it's how we respond to, an emotional young person and making them feel, that we've supported them effectively at the same time, as a multi-million-pound business who are, looking to enable that applicant to come to them. So I guess the thing is, we're doing everything we can. I think metrics for UCAS is a challenge across all of our customers. We have probably got it right with our B2C. B2B is more of a challenge. So I'm just thinking for you, Paul, what are the challenges for you in the specialist insurance area?
Yeah, uncanny, Louise, you just finished on metrics. So obviously we're insurers, we love data, we love metrics. Getting metrics on clients is tough, mainly because of that, degrees of separation we have. And as I've mentioned before, client data is a real challenge for a lot of insurers, especially in the Lloyd's market. We don't always get the full client name and address when a submission comes into us from a broker. We might put it into our system, say we're insuring IBM, it may go in as IBM or I.B.M or intelligent business machines or even international business machines. It's down to kind of who enters it in, and that can cause friction all the way throughout the value chain. So claims team can't find a policy. When a claim happens, that causes a delay all the way through to reporting and aggregation of risk. So that's the first one, and we're challenging ourselves to be better at that, and we're looking at partners and working with partners to cleanse data, because it's extremely important. The second one is that point I raised again about ensuring people know how they impact the end customer and incentivizing good behavior. So we're doing lots of stories internally of we're calling them client champions or Winning Wednesday stories about how we've impacted the lives of a client and got them back into their house quicker, or or got their business back up and running because of cash flow issues, because I think that's extremely important for people to actually realize what we do. And then the third one is organizing ourselves in a way that makes sense. Sometimes we have a problem that too many people have a relationship with one client. If it's a big client, we might have 10 different lines with that client. So 10 different lines of business. Who owns the relationship? And you can imagine a scenario where there's different people from Beazley are walking into their offices multiple times in a month, and it's not joined up. So we need to organize ourselves in a way and get the reporting and the metrics in place so that we've got a consistent approach to how we deal with clients. And on measurement, really, I just don't want to rely on surveys for feedback. I think there's an enormous amount of survey fatigue out there. Clients don't like filling them in. Some of these clients might deal with 10 different insurance companies. If we all survey them every couple of months asking how we're doing, we're just not going to get the answers we want. So I think the important thing for us is to get back out there, get front and center with our clients, have those conversations, gather that feedback, and then use that internally to work out where we can be better and be more client-centric. So they're kind of my three kind of pieces. All sits around data as usual. Peter, I suppose the question is, working with all the clients you've got, what are you seeing?
Thanks again, Paul. Some of you, hopefully, you've read the newsing that we sent out before. Well, I think it's about a week ago, and in that I wrote an article which summarises kind of the three biggest things. So I'd encourage you to read it if you haven't had the chance yet. So just very quickly on those three things, the first thing, which is a challenge or an obstacle, is the leadership, and I can't stress enough how the leadership who get it in terms of customer centricity are to making it happen. Otherwise, I've seen lots and lots of very frustrated people out there trying to do the right thing, trying to behave in a joined up way, but they're effectively thwarted because, well, I don't know about you, I'm old enough to remember Reginald Perrin. Do you remember CJ as well? I didn't get where I am today by, you know, and unfortunately there are some people out there who didn't get where they are today by being very customer centric. They deployed the 4 Ps or whatever it was that they'd learned. But the thing is, the world is changing, and the leaders of tomorrow have got to adapt to this new normal, customer empowered, you know, loads and loads of words. And the second thing quickly is silos. And I think, you know, this has been mentioned before, that so many organizations are organized around their products, and it's very hard to be customer centric when you are not organized in that way. And it's not just the organization. In fact, what's more important is silo behavior as opposed to just silo structure. Fundamentally, if people are being performance managed to just build one part of the business and not the holistic good business and customer value, they're going to struggle, and we will struggle to be customer centric. And the final point is the one I kind of made at the start, is the point of being systemic, not being joined up, not thinking end to end in terms of the customer experience and the customer journey. And actually, that's one of the reasons why we've launched our new trust capability assessment and the builder that's associated with it, because that's a way to ensure that trust gets intertwined through the whole of the way that we go to market, that we build relationships, and that we support our people with tools and insight to do that. So as I said, for us, trust underpins everything. And hopefully what you've heard will spark some discussion and some questions. So back to Alan.
Yeah, thanks, Peter. So I'd just like to maybe echo a quick point that was made earlier, actually. I think it's really interesting that when you bring panelists together from very, very different businesses and realize that actually there are some very similar challenges. So Louise mentioned the cyclical nature of the application process for the universities and colleges, and certainly really busy times of the year. And that's certainly the case in the world of insurance that Paul talked about as well. And indeed any business where there are annual contract renewal negotiations. But customer centricity isn't just about those moments in time. You know, and again, Louise mentioned that, didn't she, around actually we've got that moment in time customer satisfaction, but actually customer centricity applies across the whole year. And it's that ability to be measuring our progress throughout the whole year in terms of how we're doing with that. So just a quick observation really from me before we go to the question. I think it's been a really interesting discussion, and I think given us a lot of food for thought. So just to say a massive thank you on behalf of all the team at Customer Attune to all of our panel members for giving up their time to prepare and join us today. Been really, really interesting. And as always, as well as the panel discussion, actually, I think the responses to the questions are almost even more insightful to the questions which I was able to dream up to stimulate the conversation. So thanks very much for that. If you're grappling with your organization with the challenge of making your business more customer centric, or you want to discuss any of today's topics in more details, please do get in touch with Peter or indeed any of the wider Customer Attune teams. And likewise, if you want to find out any more about what we do, please give one of us a call. We'd love to hear from you. And if you're interested in being a future panelist, please do let us know. We'd love to have a variety of new speakers going forward. So thank you all for joining us. And as I say, that will close the formal part of the session. We will stay on. If you have got a question that you haven't had a chance to be answered, then please do share that with us now. And we'll continue with anybody who wants to stay in the room. So thank you.